Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon. First of all, thank you for joining us today, for sparing your time to attend this webinar. And I hope it will be very informative and helpful for everyone in the audience. So, first of all, my name is Dipanjana Shah, and I precisely work with the growth and demand generation team at Extra Edge. And I have been working for almost 2 years now, helping educational institutes to manage and achieve their admission and conversion targets seamlessly through our automations. So I'll start with introducing Mr. Abhishek Ballab. So first of all, he's our co-founder for Extra Edge, and along with being a co-founder, he has been a multitasker and has donned a lot of hats in his last 5 years of journey in building Extra Edge. So he has been involved in hiring talents, managing growth, managing product, and building up the automation architecture for Extra Edge and everything. But I guess, as far as I know, Abhishek, his favorite part is obviously challenging the growth parameters for Extra Edge and taking Extra Edge to various heights. So first of all, we will start today with setting up the context by letting you know what is in it for you guys and how this webinar will help you understand automation better, robust platform better. So, first of all, we will be talking about major challenges that have been stopping educational institutes in achieving their admission targets and achieving their conversion targets. And we will also try to provide you with a robust solution as compared to the challenges that you are facing. Secondly, we will also be talking about managing of teams remotely. So I think we all unanimously believe that we have been party to an industry that believes in physical communication more, who believes in physical presence is important for achieving a particular target. But since last 1.5 year with pandemic and virtual working, everything has changed. The dynamics has changed. So we will definitely work about how to work efficiently remotely as well with your team members in sync. And at last, we will also be taking you through a journey of our own client, what all challenges they had faced before coming to Extra Edge, and how Extra Edge has helped them to overcome those challenges and not only achieve their targets, but overachieve them, right? So we will be covering all those parts. So stay tuned with us till the end. And before I hand it over to Abhishek, just few instructions. So everyone's audio will be on mute by default, and still you can put in your questions and your comments. So kindly please use the chat section for putting in any comments or thoughts about what you feel about certain part of the webinar, and you can post in your questions specifically in the Q&A section, just because the questions doesn't get lost in the chat section. And I would request everyone to be more brief about the question and not being generic, because a generic question might not be applicable to the most of the audience. So try to be specific and brief, and we will have a dedicated time for Q&A towards the end of our session. And that's it. So over to you, Abhishek. Why don't you go ahead and introduce our audience with what Extra Edge does and what you will be covering today. Over to you.
Thank you, Dipanjana. And so first of all, Dipanjana is one of my colleagues. That's our basic introduction. So we work together to help education institutes achieve their admission goals, as Dipanjana mentioned. All the people who attended, thank you very much for attending this session, where prima facie we will be talking about what are the challenges when it comes to admission growth or growing your admission conversions. What we have seen while we work with more than 250 plus education institutes of all shapes and sizes, and a couple of case studies, very interesting case studies. So there's a saying that proof of the pudding lies in eating it. So we have a couple of customers whom with we have worked, and now we have very clear empirical data of how the impact was for them and what problem did we solve for them. So today we will not only be talking about, but we'll also be sharing with you what worked for them. And we believe that some of you would be able to relate with those problems, for which we might help you with those solutions, right? So keeping it more empirical along with theoretical. So that will be our best possible outcome of this session. And any questions related to growth, admissions, marketing, obstacles that you're facing to fill your seats and things, feel free to put in Q&A, and more than happy to answer those questions. Now, coming to Deepanjana's question, so Extra Edge basically is a product company. We help admission teams achieve their admission goals, their conversion goals, and we help them increase, manage, and predict their admissions. So we provide a complete software product solution to cater to all the aspects that relates to managing your leads, understanding engagement, nurturing them, and finally converting them into prospect students. We have been working for the past 5 years now, serve more than 250 plus customers in India and abroad, and have a very young and enthusiastic team who's always ready to serve people like you. So that's a bit about Extra Edge and Deepanjana, and so happy to kick off this and probably set the context. So on a broader level, the context is, the webinar topic says that the 2x goal, that's the holy grail. How can we go into the 2x conversion goals? And when I say 2x, it does not literally mean 2x. It means that whatever we're doing right now, can we double it? And what it takes to double it, and what's stopping us, what are the constraints that are stopping us from doubling it? And that's what Deepanjana will be spearheading and we'll talking about. So all for growth, all for growing your admission goals. And so over to you, Deepanjana.
Yes. So Abhishek, before we kickstart our discussion today, so let's quickly take a poll and get the suggestion from our audience with regards to what challenges would they prefer us to attend. And I would request the audience to take this quick poll. The poll has 2 to 3 questions.
Yep.
And this will give us a broader spectrum of what all areas do we need to target today to, for our discussion, and how we can help you better.
So I've just launched the poll, guys. All you need to do is that quickly answer these few questions. There are only 2 questions. This will help us to make this webinar more meaningful and structure it based on that. So I could see that some votes are coming in. So request all of you to very, very quickly just click and complete that. So we get a very clear sum of what we are talking about. Deepanjana, are you able to see the poll?
Yes, I'm able to see it.
Okay. So you can clearly see that what we are seeing in front of our eyes, right? So
yeah. So Abhishek, meanwhile, when people are giving their answers to the poll, so I just wanted to ask you a question, right? So at the beginning, I said that we'll be talking about challenges, right? So we will definitely talk about the challenges that our audience face in achieving their admission quotas per se. But I would want to know from you. You have been working closely with educational setups now for 5 years, and you have been, in the front line speaking with the admission teams, with the chairmen, with the head of the colleges, universities throughout, right? So, what do you feel? How has the market changed in the last 1.5 year? What trends do you see coming in, and what do you think, what were the major challenges, or what were the key I would say key areas because of which those challenges have arrived? And how do you think that we can reach to a solution, or even start with building a solution, right? So I would want to know about a bit of trends that you see in the market right now.
Yeah. So, of course, Deepanjana, so this has been discussed quite a few times, but just to add to color to it, we just came to know today that CBSE examinations got cancelled or postponed, right? So we are living in a world for the past 1.2 years where education industry is challenged to move towards digitization very, very quickly. So that's the biggest theme, Deepanjana, that. And so when we say digitization, what do we mean by that exactly? So there are 2 kinds of digitization that's happening today in the country, which we really need to very clearly articulate. The one digitization is towards learning outcomes. How can the kid learn well sitting at his home, and his outcome of the learning should be really, really good, where companies like Byju, Upgrad, and all those companies are working towards it. And it's from K-12 towards employability generation programs. That's learning outcome is getting solved, right? So basically that's digitization of learning outcomes, if I have to put it. On the other side to it, there's a digitization of admissions or acquisition, because you need to acquire the kid first, then only you will provide him those skills and learning outcomes in the first place. And that's where we are seeing where digital marketing, having your own in-house marketing teams, figuring out innovative ways to meet the student where they are on platforms and communicating to them at the right period of time. Branding becomes very, very important. So digitization of admission has become existential for every education brand in India. People used to rely on their past laurels and their brand equity over 30, 40 years. that may or may not work today, because there are newcomers and incumbents doing very, very well. So putting forward in front of a new age student, or what we call Gen Y student, or a baby boomer parent, is very, very critical and important, provided that physical proximity is absolutely, kind of hindered for at least, we don't know when till when, right? We are not traveling. So my first point would be digitization of admissions is as strong happening as digitization of learning outcomes. The learning outcomes is very visible to our eyes. We can see that very palpably. The other side, we don't see it because it's more back end. So that's one. Second, also what's happening, Deepanjana, is that having your own team and rapport and capability in-house is very, very important. So it's like you cannot outsource your sales. It's a very common topic in product companies, and it same goes in education industry. You cannot outsource your first touch point or counseling team or admission outreach team to a third party. It needs to be done in-house. That capability needs to be built. And what we call counselor enablement needs to happen with the product, with salary incentive structure and motivating them is very, very important. Yeah. So, so that's the second thing that we are clearly seeing. And third, and more or less, I'm seeing, Deepanjana, is that a very core understanding of metrics like, your cost per lead, cost per acquisition, cost per conversion, your funnels, lead to walk-in ratio, walk-in to enrollment ratio. These become very, very important in a digital-driven education admission world. Because for any digital-driven team, right, tracking these important metrics and having all those data, first of all, in the same place becomes existential, so as to speak. So I think these three things are happening. And the fourth thing, which is on top of it, what's happening to us, Deepanjana, is the regulatory framework, which is immensely confused by COVID and examinations not being completed on time. So they are also in uncertainty. When the exam will happen, when we go to school, when the class will happen, when JEE will happen, when NATA will happen, NEET will happen. We don't know, right? So we are living in that unpredictability, thereby communicating and engaging with the prospect becomes even more important because they are confused, right? So brands need to effectively be confused. So whoever is able to articulate their brand, communicate periodically and properly, and be prepared, look like they're prepared, right, will create a soothing feeling in the minds of parents and the kids that I'm talking to a brand who's aware of my, kind of uncertainties and my fears. Thereby, they might be the right fit for me to go fulfill my course outcomes. So this is what predominantly, what we are seeing, Deepanjana.
Yeah. So Abhishek, another question that just came into my mind. So about the other problems, right? In general, what are the challenges that are stopping an educational institute to achieve their targets, or how can they overcome or overachieve their last year's numbers? So that we will be talking about in the case studies. But one thing which is very important is the skill set of the team. That has also changed with the pandemic coming in and virtual communication or virtual working becoming the reality, right? So one thing that you have always said to us is we should focus on everything that we can control and not focus on something we can't control. So when the pandemic will happen, how will the education regulatory change, when the exams will happen, is not in our hand. But something which is in our hand is making our team prepare, upscaling our team to cope up with the changing times, cope up with the technology that would come in with virtual working, right? So when we talk about team management, I think the skills of the team is equally important, because once they're skilled, they'll go ahead and achieve their targets, right? So what kind of skills do you think a new era admission counselor or a new era, head counselor should, possess? And, because recently you have yourself hired 35 new people in Extra Edge, and you have, immensely made sure that you bring in very fresh enthusiasm and such kind of talents in the team. So what do you suggest to the other educational institutes? What kind of talent or skills should they look out for while hiring their admission team?
Absolutely. I think, so there was a vote that we floated on, around 50 people have done that. So request other people to also do it. So interestingly, Deepanjana, 29% people feel that remote team management is their biggest problem today. Okay. Around 30% feel that keeping track of admission funnel is the biggest problem. So the two biggest problems that we see are managing a remote team and keeping track of the funnel. So let's start with that, right? So I think there are two parts to your question: that what are the challenges and what is the definition of a good quality counselor or admission executive. I'll cover the first part. So we all Indians are used to work when we are sitting with each other and talking to each other, working in an office, that concept, right? So remote is very okay for a European culture or a Canadian culture, but for Indian culture, it's a new thing for us. And what happens in remote, a feeling of mistrust comes into picture. So I don't know whether Deepanjana is doing her job or not sitting at home. I don't know her. I cannot see her, right? Which is very natural for even anybody, but primarily more for Indians because we are not used to that mindset yet. So having right checks and balances and processes in place so that you do not kind of look at with a sense of skepticism. At the same time, you look at from data and numbers is becomes very critical and very, very important, I would say. So remote team management is one of the biggest challenge for everybody in the world today. But for admission teams, that's one of the biggest challenges. That things like how many calls did they make today? Did the calls connected? Right? Did he speak to the student? Was the student follow up done on time or not? These are some of the questions. So the first challenge I would say that building that trust with the remote team members, and Deepanjana, trust can only come with measured data. You know that. When we are apart, then we can only measure and then we can only then discuss based on that measurement. So that becomes very critical, very, very important. So that's the first thing that I would like to mention. I think the second thing which we have also asked in the poll is that the data at the same place needs to be there. So I'm doing promotion on Google AdWords. I'm also making phone calls. I'm even shooting emails and SMSs. I'm even trying to fill my application form. I'm even trying to do a webinar. So I'm talking to 5 different systems and 5 different people. Are they all reporting back from a data point of view to one place or not? Becomes very critical and very, very important. Okay. And very, I would say, existential, right? So do you have a single source or system where all the outbound and admission related data flows in or not? So that's very, very critical, very, very important. Now, third thing, which is very important, which I would like to stress is that we are talking to a Gen Z and Gen Y students who is used to a world of Instagram and TikTok, right? And he may not even respond to an email. Maybe his parent will, but he might respond to a WhatsApp or he might respond to an email during that particular time period when he's ready to make his admission decision. So understanding the funnel leads to periodicity and intensity of the communication that you do with the guy. And to give an example that if somebody is filling an application form, he will even see his SMS because he's ready for that communication. But if the guy is a guy you have procured by buying data, he might not even respond to a WhatsApp, he'll block you. So tuning and managing your funnel and then having communication based on the stage of the funnel becomes very critical and important, which most people do not get it right? So that's the third problem, which I clearly see. And finally, whenever an admission head or marketing head is sitting with a CEO or the management, do they have the right kind of analytics and reports to converse with each other? Otherwise, we converse that, oh, this is not happening. What do we do? Why this is not happening? You're not doing your job. These are all subjective opinions. Bringing objectivity and data-driven opinions along with the subjective opinions is equally important. So powering them with that analytics that, hey, this is working or not working, what we call leading and lagging indicator is equally important, which we often see missing. These are some of the challenges that we are seeing, Deepanjana. Now, moving to your next question, that the quality of a good admission counselor, I will say 3, right? First of all, treat them and pay them well. Right. So it's like, paying them well, incentivizing them well, which is outside the boundary of extra, right? That you pay and incentivize them well, make sure that they are there for the long term. And even if they are not there for the long term, treat them with respect and, more financially and also based on the outcomes. Set their KRA very, very well, I would say. And we have seen many of our customers who do that very, very well, right? Now, the second part would be that give them the right tool in their hands. For example, I'm a middle-aged woman, 45-year-old, working from my home in Indore, and a university tells me to call 40 people in a day. Have I provided them my SIM card, mobile app? How when the internet goes, is the app having facility to record in offline? Is it allowing me to type the number every time, or there's a way to click to call? Right? Is the call recording happening automatically so people can do quality analysis and she can do her own quality analysis? Now, this all we assume that will happen. This does not happen, magically. This needs to be orchestrated and built up from the technology side to empower that particular counselor. So, is the tooling correct? First of all, is the intent and incentivization correct? Second, is the tooling correct? And third, is the training correct? Has that counselor been trained in the unique value proposition of a university A as compared to a university B, which is in the same location? Often than not, the answer is no. So it's like, I've given a list, you call, this is a script, you call, most probably it will fail. You have to fire her. So basically you are setting that counselor for firing. Okay. You're not setting him for success. So set her for success. So tooling, training, and incentive and readiness and salary. I think all three, Deepanjana, go hand in hand. And that makes a good counselor, because if the counselor knows that she's getting paid well, she's getting respected, she will work 2 hours more to train herself, go to the website, learn herself. She's motivated and incentivized. So half the battle is people management, the half the battle is process management and KRS, I would say.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, Abhishek, to totally agree. And like, as I have heard the challenges from you, and also I just saw the result of the poll, I believe that our today's session will be very, very helpful, because 80% of the problem, I believe, can be solved with a robust platform, with a platform which, focuses on channelizing and building up a customized platform, specific to university A or as compared to university B, right? So I have been getting a lot of questions about how we have helped our client. I guess that's the star of our today's webinar session. So we have talked a lot about the challenges. So today we will also talk about the success story. So we'll also see that in this challenging times, how certain institutes have, really overcome those challenges in a heroic manner and overachieved all of their targets. There have been a lot of success stories. So we'll share few of them with you. So, Abhishek, over to you again to talk to people about the digital strategy that you were talking about, right? So, what is correct or a right digital strategy looks like, and how it can help you overachieve, right? So, yeah, over to you.
So, thank you, Deepanjana. So, again, Deepanjana, you know that, if a man knows somebody's problem very, very well and articulate that, and the person assumes that he must also have the solution, right? It's what happens when we go to a doctor, right? He asks questions and articulates a problem so well that we expect that he will have an answer. So similar to that, today, what we are going to do is that we are going to present a couple of case studies to you. These are the people who are very similar to you, the brands who are. So we will cover a university, an example, and we'll cover a vocational or coaching test prep. These two cases, and we'll try to cover what the problems they were facing, and focusing on the problems. And the objective is that maybe you will be able to rate, hey Abhishek, this is my problem also. And then probably in the Q&A section, we'll be able to answer that, how did we solve that problem? So instead of saying that, how did we solve, we are going to talk about what problems did we face, and also that how did we cater to it. So without further delay, let me share my screen. So Deepanjana, just let me know when you are able to see my screen.
Yes, Abhishek, I'm able to see your screen.
Okay, great. So let me go in a full screen mode. I hope you're able to see my screen.
Yeah.
So again, it says revealing the secret, but I think the most often the secrets are things which are commonplace, which we overlook. So let's start with that. So how we help our clients improve their conversion rate by 2x. So what we will do is that we'll cover 2 use cases. So for the sake of privacy, we have not tried to name these customers of ours, but just to give a sense of it, we'll try to cover one customer where we work for last 2 years now. It's one of the oldest private university in Maharashtra, accredited by NAAC by A grade, has near about 750 students every year across 7 branches, has a flagship college of engineering. And prior to Extra Edge came in, they were using some kind of digital marketing agencies and had some kind of telecallers, we used to call them. So we'll talk about them. And a lot of you, I see there are around, lot many people have joined us today. Maybe you'll fit in that category where you are either associated with a university or you are associated with a group of institutes or who are either NAAC or NBA accredited in that case. So you'll fall in that bucket. Few of you might even fall in the second bucket. You are associated with a coaching or a test prep or a skilling institute. So we'll cover our another case study where we worked with India's largest fitness and nutrition training institutes, which has probably 500 admissions per month, so around 6,000, 7,000 students with 20 plus locations all across India, NSDC affiliated. And prior to Extra Edge, they were using their in-house software for a long period of time. So, it will give you a very kind of good kind of definition of when we say problems, what problems we were solving and what challenges we were solving for them, right? So that's the setting of the context. So moving on to it, what was the first challenge that we saw? And the first and foremost challenge, Deepanjana, which we saw was there was a lack of unified admission CRM to drive 2x applicants. And this goes to my original question, which you asked me that, where do we start? Where is the data? Okay, where is the unified data for everything? And so what do we mean by that? What does it mean for a university? We'll dive down deeper into it, right? So what it meant for the university, Deepanjana, is that difficulty in identifying suspect from the prospect. I have 5 lakh data. Who do I talk first? No clue. No means, right? Then if I have 5 lakh data, shall I send an email to 5 lakh people every 4 days? Maybe not the right idea. So no consistent and systematic periodic communication as well as follow-ups. How can somebody follow 5 lakh people? If you do 3 follow-ups to 5 lakh people in a month, you are doing 15 lakh follow-ups. You need a workforce of 2,000 people, but you have around 5 people. So how are you doing that, right? So again, third part being inbound and outbound call not mapped to admission platform. You say people, we need to call people 50 calls in a day, but you don't have a proper IVR. If you have an IVR, don't have a recording does not come to a CRM. So everything is scattered in a way, right? And second is that, in this case of a university we're talking about, it was during the peak period of COVID where, more than 30-40 people were working from home. They had their smartphones, but they did not have a way to make sure that they can send quick SMS or WhatsApp to 10 people if they want to. They had to go type their numbers, save the numbers, send SMS, send WhatsApp, type those numbers, save the number, make the calls to it. One people left the organization, Deepanjana, she was gone. You had no clue where the data is, where the calling is. It's probably stored in a phone. So these were the problems we were seeing on the first case. On the second case, we had similar problems, but some different kinds of problems, right? So we had counseling and marketing team working very, very closely because a coaching or vocational are primarily digital led, digital first. So when Google AdWords and Facebook were generating leads and data, which data was more important was not reaching to the counselors and filtered on the first. So there was no handshake between the marketing and the admission team, right? There was no proper process, Deepanjana, of mapping their calendar, with their follow-up. So today we send out calendar invites to all those 75 people, Deepanjana, who are attending this. That's how they remember it. But for these people, there is no sync between their calendar, their work day, and between their follow-ups, which is very funny actually. But this was not there, right? Then, inbound and outbound calls were being done. There was an IVR, but the ROI was not mapped. For example, if I make 70 calls in a day, Deepanjana, how many calls are getting connected? What's the average duration of a call? So what we found in a survey and study, Deepanjana, that any call that goes more than 60 seconds, which is more than a minute, is a good productive call. Whereby any calls that goes beyond 5 or 7 minutes may not be productive because then you are not able to provide answer to their questions. Then probably you should wrap this call in 2 to 3 minutes, and then it should be followed by a well-structured email and probably maybe a WhatsApp in that case. Nobody wants to talk for 10 minutes. So, so these insights were not coming for that. And finally, again, mobility enablement, which we talk about, that people were not empowered on mobile phones and mobile apps. Now, everybody in this country, Deepanjana, is empowered on a smartphone today.
Yeah.
So why should not the admission and education sales to be? So this was the first and the most important problem for the audience and gentlemen in the audience present. I would say that, and this we see, Deepanjana, across all our customers. Okay, that how do we make sure that there's a unified CRM or a single software that can help you to drive and cater to these kind of problems, right? That's the first, I would say, challenge that, and by the way, we solved all the problems for them. So we ended up solving all these for them, for all the people in the audience, and we'll talk about that later. But interestingly, moving to the second challenge that we saw, that once we have identified and we have a system, right? Who do we communicate first and who do we not? And there are many aspects to it. So for example, if few of the people in the audience, Deepanjana, are making sure people fill the applications, because university requires you to fill the application forms. So the best way to communicate to the students will be in the form of emails and will be in the form of a video call, a video chat, because they are already sold. They're filling the form. You just need to help them complete it, right? So in that case, phone call might not work. What would work is a video call. You do a quick video call, 2-minute video call, ask him, hey kid, where are you stuck? Are you not able to make payment? Do you want an UPI option? Do you don't understand what this particular section means? Let me help you and get you fill your form. Get the form filled in 2 minutes. You are done. He pays 3,000 rupees and he is done. So video will work more as a communication medium. Call may not work because you are on call, she's on call. You both are confused because you're not seeing anything. Whereas if you are in the early part of your funnel, Deepanjana, that you are still discovering you are discovering the brand, you want a question and a query, then telephone call works beautifully in that case. Okay. Even in this case, WhatsApp will work beautifully, or a WhatsApp bot will work beautifully, right? So I think periodic and consistency is there, but along with that, knowing where your customer is in your journey is very, very important, and which we saw a lot of times missing. So what we saw for a university and a group of institutes, Deepanjana, is that an inability to personalize the communication via outbound calls, moreover, track them, was completely missing. They were receiving, we had a customer who was receiving, more than 10,000, requests on chat on a daily basis. Now it's humanly impossible to attend to those 10,000 chats or 1,000 chats in a day. So how do we automate your inbound queries on calls, on chat, if you want to, right? So another important measure is that my 5 people are making 30 calls in a day. So they are making 150 calls in a duration of 1 minute. So they are making 150 minutes of conversation. Are they saying the right things or not? They might be saying the wrong things, or they might be saying the old age, what we call Eureka Forbes salesman things, which is not required, right? How do you correct that? Because people did not have an ability to listen to those calls, right? And that's supplementing with a rule engine. I mean, emails are being sent for the past 50 years. SMS are being sent for the past 70 years, 60 years, for after the telecom revolution. It needs to be automated. It needs to be set like an engine, and it works. I mean, nobody is sending on Flipkart and Amazon and sending us emails today, but we receive around 4 to 5 emails on a daily basis. It's automated. So can we do here also? And then testing it out. Similar for a coaching or a vocational also, that mission driven weekly, monthly batches are there. So a lot of people in our audience, they run multiple batches, multiple distance learning programs in a month basis, on a week basis. So communicating about the batch, about the discount, about the offer is very time critical. If that communication does not go on time, it's lost, the opportunity is gone, right? So it becomes very important. And similar to that, making sure that the inbound and outbound call at a peak are driving 4x engagement on call connects is very important. So what we found very interestingly, Deepanjana, is that the IVR numbers are often blocked by Truecaller by the kids.
Yes.
So if you call from an IVR number, your calls are being made, but the calls are not being picked. So it's basically what we call motion without accomplishment. Okay. And you will never be able to know that, because your guys will say that, ma'am, I made 50 calls in a day. And you'll say, okay, very good, go home. Make another 50 calls tomorrow. But out of 50 calls, your 10% calls are getting connected. So 5 calls are getting connected. How would your admission happen via outbound? It will never happen, right? So are you measuring that very clearly? Your call connects via that. And this is the problem we saw with this, fitness institute that we are talking about, right? And of course, automation of the journey. So again, this is a second challenge that we see, that the periodic and consistent engagement. And a lot of people in the audience is, right, if it's relating to you, I'm sure it must be relating to you. Please ask questions. We're more than happy to answer that, how we solved it to for a customer. And finally, I would say, Deepanjana, challenge 3 is that and it flows from solving the challenge 1 and challenge 2. If you have a system of truth and records, if you have a engagement and communicating metrics built in and tools built in the system, you will be able to measure, and you will be able to see what's leaking and what's not leaking on the bucket, right? And that's what we found, that now as we move toward a digital driven, everybody in the audience is spending money on Facebook, on Google, on Instagram. They are running ads. So there is a term called return on ad spend. Are you able to effectively measure return on ad spend? A lot of universities work with publishers. They are reputed publishers that we work with. Are you able to have a data-driven communication with them? Track your cost per lead, cost per acquisition, so that there is no conflict at the end of the day, right? So this is something we were seeing very clearly happening. And as a byproduct of that, Deepanjana, that optimizing your cost per lead and cost per acquisition is very, very critical, so that you run a very well-oiled machine. Because at the end of the day, it's a business. Money goes in, money comes out. So money goes in needs to be optimized and channeled, and money comes out needs to be driven into more throughput and more ROI. Similar to that, we were also seeing a lot of challenges because a lot of universities still used to do ATL, BTL activities, right? Which is basically hoarding, print, PR, radio, television, which is still do. So how are we measuring digital versus ATL, BTL efficiencies, right? And how do we driving conversion on course, programs, demographic, shifting student movement? So for example, should I target in Northeast, or should I target in Chhattisgarh, or should I target in Chandigarh? How do I know that? It's all hearsay. It could be data driven. is my BE and BTech program or is my special program on data science and AI working well on me? So this all get driven from here, the strategy for next year. More from a vocational and fast moving, what we call retail sales model, what we saw, Deepanjana, that daily, weekly and monthly, measurement is very clearly important. I want to understand today how many calls, how many leads, how many lead to walk into enrollment, and I want that automatic, damn automatic. I don't want a person to send me an Excel report, because again, data when moves from a system to a person, it might get fudged, it might get obscured, and often than not, it happens there. And while we are working from home, it might also get tampered, right? Then also a very important thing, taking hiring and firing decisions. When people are working from home, they have not signed you for perpetuity, right? They are employees who are working with you. They're performance driven. If they're not doing well, you probably need to let them go at times. How do you take that decision? So what we, is a very beautiful thing, Deepanjana, what we created called work done report. So every day for all our customer, we have a report called work done report, daily work done report. It has beautiful metrics like calling, lead to walking to enrollment. It goes beyond 30%. The person is not performing well. He needs to put on a performance evaluation, or probably you need to bring more people in the organization or train them well, right? So, and this all happening while that lady or that gentleman is sitting in his home, where in the background his kid is playing and his wife is cooking dinner. So it needs to happen with that. So it becomes even more, and now we are used to it. It's been literally 1.5 years. We are in that COVID thing. We are now learning to work from home and remotely. We are building that discipline and cadence also. But in an inability to solve for these problems, what we call is that for 2x conversion was the biggest problem we saw for the universities, and also the problem we saw for also our vocational skilling and coaching and test prep customers of ours. In this case, our fitness brand. In this case, our university brand. So this we were seeing happening so much amidst COVID, while people were working from home, where universities and education brands were learning to move from a conventional print, PR, radio, television to a digital led thing. So it's like, there's a kahawat in Hindi that पहले से ही इतना पहाड़ चढ़ना है, उसके बाद और भी problems है. तो फिर क्या करें, right? So, and it's like going into a battle with probably daggers and spears, where the enemy on the other hand has probably Kalashnikov and AK-47. So probably you are, it's a difficult war anyways, but you are not equipped to win that war or even compete properly in that war. Yeah. And I would say a lot of universities and a lot of people in the audience have done tremendous amount of activities in these all areas. But unfortunately, we still see, Deepanjana, these three problems. So basically, to summarize, I would say very quickly, going back to it, that first is that lack of a unified admission CRM to drive applications is the first challenge that we saw. Second, lack of periodic and consistent engagement to drive that. And finally, lack of real-time analytics to drive 2x conversions, and not getting carried away by subjectivity of what people think, but objectivity of what the data is telling us, and then bring subjectivity on top of it, I would say. And so how did we do that? I mean, so we helped them via Extra Edge to build a whole admission platform and new age system where, so basically we connected all your demand generation and your intelligence from all your channels. We connected all your communication, and we gave you a lot of intelligence and a lot of insights on your CRM, marketing automation, and a bit of intelligence on that. And we wired your entire team. So your marketing, counseling, outreach, digital marketing teams are all wired in, and they're drawing value out of it. So you can call it a new age admission platform, and that's how we help them, Deepanjana, at the end of the day, right? And again, we are very open to take questions. And what I would like to end before I hand over to you, that these are known challenges, these are known problems. Yeah. More often than not, these are process problems and human problems, which can be solved by technology, by technology solutions. So by the technology solution, we are solving human and process problem at the end of the day, and everybody's gladly, Deepanjana, fully aware of these. Yeah. It's just a matter of taking the right initiative and solving these problems. Yeah. True. So with that, very quickly over to you, and I hope this gave a holistic view of what we are talking about here.
Yeah, definitely, Abhishek. It was really, like I could relate being in the customer facing role, right? I speak with, on an average, I speak with 15 to 20 people daily. So these are the problems that they talk about, that how do we manage the team remotely, how do I take decisions with regards to certain performances, how do I take decisions with regards to my spends and everything. So I think the correct word is, like you said, a new age admission platform is the need of the hour. You need a platform wherein you can integrate all your vendors. You need a platform which will help you to qualify, which will help you to make that decision, that what should I send out to my prospects, what kind of calling script do I need, maybe, or calling skeleton do I need for my counselors. If phone calls are not working, how can I switch over to video calls? How can I convince them to come over a video call and build that trust? Because we are dealing with Gen Zs and a young population, but what lies is that the decision making power is with parents. So parents will put their money where their trust lies. So you have to gain that trust. For that trust, now if they can meet you physically, if they can see your campus, or if they can see your accreditation, they need to understand that their kids are in safe hands, the future are assured, right? So
Absolutely.
how they can do that? They can do that using virtual platforms like video conferencing and everything, right? Then to the communication part. So communication is the key for everything, as we know, as you correctly put forward, right? So communication has to be done right, content has to be done right, and channelizing those communication and tracking those communication is also critical. It cannot be the fact that I just send out email, SMS, and WhatsApp, and at the end of the year I just don't know what has happened to those communication, and then I maybe blame my team, or maybe blame the market, or maybe blame the time ki is wajah se admission nahi hua. But what is the objective fact behind that? So that will obviously come with a platform, that won't come with the subjective talking that we do about what is happening in the market and everything. So yeah, definitely it was very helpful, and I could relate and I could understand, and I'm sure that the audience could have also related to it. So before we move on to the Q&A section, just I would just like to add few things, Abhishek. So you have brought in the process perspective to it, but I do understand that as trust is important for parents and university, trust is also important for the educational institutes and us. So our clients keep trust on us, but what about those who don't know about XStretch, or maybe hearing about XStretch today for the first time? It's very crucial for them, right? So that they can understand that what kind of company are we talking to, what kind of platform are they talking about, what is their mindset. So I would just want to bring in and talk to you about the extra edge mindset. So we have always been a believer of transparency. We have been a believer of expertise in what we do. So we believe in mastering one feature at a time and not being the jack of all at the same time. So we have tried to gain mastery in all the features that we provide to our clients and customers. And we have also believed that success is about process. It cannot be achieved in one night. So the success story that Abhishek has shared about the university or maybe the coaching institute, it hasn't happened overnight. It's not they have signed up with XStretch today and from tomorrow your conversions are 2x and everything is streamlined. This doesn't happen that way. It will be a process. Sometimes it will be trial and error process. Sometimes it will be a definite process. So having faith in the process, having faith in the technology, having faith in the solution that we built up for our customers is something that has brought us a long way, and we will keep on doing that. We will keep on keeping transparency with our clients, with our prospects. We'll continue to tell them what kind of problems they have or they may face in future, and how a technology or a customization in a platform can help them overcome it, right? And we also believe that our customers and our prospects are people who are willing to learn, willing to adapt to new technologies, and are open to wise solutions, right?
So Dipanjana, again, I'll answer in one line, right? It's like relationship.
Yeah.
If you build a, so you ask a couple who has spent around 35 years of their marriage, right? So they are
Yeah.
committed for long term. So when you are serving your customers and your vision of the company is for long term, so not for 2-3 years, but from 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, right? Then your decisions are made based on the long term benefits of the stakeholders. And if you look at every short term relationship, right, they try to find hacks or shortcuts to get there quickly. And I think that view that we are building this company long term with our customers is in itself a very true north for us to take all the right decisions. So probably I will probably consult and help a customer, and probably I'll make money from the customer next year. But that's okay because I'm building for the long term. So I think the mindset of the company, as you rightly asked, and we segue to the Q&A now very quickly, that is we are there for the long term. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's like Titan or Tata or Birla. They are there for 100 years. So everybody trusts them naturally because they have defied time and age, and they're for a long term. So I think just communicating to our customers and share stakeholders that we are building this company for the long term and solutions will keep on building, क्योंकि लंबे टाइम तक रहेंगे तभी तो बनाएंगे. So that view takes care of everything according to me. That brings in transparency, that brings confidence, comfort, and that adds lot of and that is needs to be transformed by behavior also. We need to act according or like that also. So we offer a software product, but with that we offer a lot of consultancy. We help them customize them, and we'll keep on doing that, and we'll keep on learning from our customers too, and passing that learning on to other people without any incentive in mind. So I think selfless serving along with a long-term view will be my 2 cents on this topic.
True. So Abhishek, let's go ahead and take few questions that we have got from our audience. So one very interesting question about the process itself. So Mr. Pankaj Anand from our audience have asked us about certain growth strategies for edtech companies. So what would you suggest to the edtech companies for this strategy?
Absolutely. So thank you for the question. I think edtech is a different beast altogether. What happens in edtech is that predominantly is digitally led, and nowadays it's app led. So you will have a mobile app where you are driving people to take a class or complete a class or a demo class, which will drive them to take a course, buy a course, which will get fulfilled on a mobile app or an iPad or a web. Predominantly, this is the trend that we are seeing. So in that case, for a edtech company, it becomes very important to track things like website analytics, number of people coming in, which page they are going, bounce rate, drop rate, app registrations, app drop off, how many people are registering on the app or logging off or signing off. So what we call in the era of marketing automation, telemetry of your web and app becomes very, very critical. So for a university like that, if somebody comes and fills an application form, goes to the step 3, then we will send him this kind of email for him to complete that application. For you, it could be that if somebody has gone to that app, watched that video, and took that demo class, then I will want to send him information of another discount coupon for my program, right? So the telemetry there, sir, would all be driven on website and or Android or iOS app ecosystem. So that will be my first thing, how it will be different. Second is that for an edtech, I think tracking your return on ad spend is very, very critical and important, because predominantly you'll be driving traffic from your website, your Google AdWords, and your Facebook. Okay, so tracking that effectively, the whole journey. So journey like visits, bounce, time spent on the website, then number of people who have filled a form, became a lead, and from lead to interested, not interested, and so on and so forth. So the whole funnel that probably you can track in maybe Extra Edge, right, will help you to do that, very, very importantly and clearly. And third is that deciding your, what we call weapons. So are you phone led? So are you making inbound and outbound calls, or are you more, kind of self-serve led, that when the kid will come in, sign up, then probably I'll start to engage over an email. So, and the way to think about it is that if you're selling a course which costs you around 50,000 or 70,000 rupees, then you might be able to get a 30,000 rupees counselor who's picking up the phone and calling that guy. So your economics will add up, but your course costs 300 rupees for a year, right? Then it has to be all digital led. So you need to define your model and build your personnel or your sales and marketing team according to that. So these will be my, 3, 4, difference insights on as far as edtech is concerned.
Great, Abhishek. So we have another very interesting question. So we have spoken about a unified platform for our aggregators, right? So Mr. Abhijit Nikam has asked, are there any ways wherein we can create a unified platform to reply to the students? So the inquiries coming from website, WhatsApp, Telegram, Instagram, and Facebook, can we reply all the student queries at one place?
Yeah, absolutely. So, sir, basically, on email and SMS and WhatsApp, definitely. Today, any good product, including Extra Edge, supports you to communicate to all these students in one go. So, for example, today you can build a rule engine that all the kids who have come to, who have opened my email twice and clicked, I would want to send them an email, WhatsApp, and SMS on first day, 5th day, 10th day, 20th day, so on and so forth. So you can build the journey very, very clearly. I think what's missing right now is that when the student responds back, does that communication also comes back to us? So for example, a kid replied to an email or a kid replied to that WhatsApp. So are we also getting that information inside the product? I think a lot of times it's available, a lot of times it's not available based on things. For example, WhatsApp, it's very difficult to do that today. But we are also trying to create a way where you can communicate to a kid on WhatsApp within Extra itself. So that will solve a lot of problems. So I think predominantly the answer is a platform like WhatsApp, where most of the communication with the kids happen. If a tool can bring in the WhatsApp ecosystem inside the product, I think that will solve most of the problems where your people are able to reply to WhatsApp and receive WhatsApp messages within the periphery of the product rather than a standalone tab called web.whatsapp. If we are able to do that, which probably Extra is currently working on, I think we will be able to address that core problem there, according to me.
Great. Great, Abhishek. So, Abhishek, before we move on to the last few questions for today, so why don't we quickly take the feedback poll from our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, another poll. I know all the people. Poll is very important for me and Deepanjana to get a view from you. So while you are, going through the poll, we'll keep on answering the questions, but would love your thorough participation on the poll to make these sessions more useful and better for the next. So please kindly, take the poll. Yeah, Deepanjana. Let's go to the next question.
Yes. So the next question is about the implementation of the automation that we spoke about, Abhishek. So what does the implementation process looks like once someone has adopted to go ahead with the automation platform?
I think it ranges between 7 days to I would say around 20 days. People who have the inputs ready, configured, they have clarity. Anybody like me or anybody else will be able to onboard them probably in a week's time. People who require a lot of hand holding, the processes is not inbuilt, so we also help and consult them to build that process. It generally takes around 15 to 20 odd days, but so the average is around, I would say, around 12 to 15 days. The fastest we have done is probably around maybe around 4 to 5 days, and the longest is probably around 30 days. But then generally you can be rest assured that if you're clear with inputs, Deepanjana, probably around 10 to 12 odd days we should be up and running.
Okay, great. So the next question is from Mr. Adil. He asked, what would be solutions to manage sales team and lead which we get, how we can track and keep in pipeline, and will we be able to send out reminders year after year to those leads?
Correct. So the answer is a 3-letter word. It's called CRM. CRM. So you basically require a system of truth, or what we call system of records, of your entire sales process, championed by the likes of Salesforce, but it's meant for bigger industries and bigger things. For education, something Extra is championing. You basically need a very simple CRM which has an ability to not only understand your funnel, but marketing automation built on top of it, which can communicate and remind the students, because a lot of times you would also upsell and cross sell your products multiple times. So a student that becomes an enrolled student might again become a prospect, and you might sell something else to them. Same happened with the fitness example that we took for our fitness brand that we helped from 2x. So I would say a core CRM with ability to communicate, and not ability to communicate only in the form of email, SMS, but everything in one go: email, SMS, video chat, WhatsApp, SMS, WhatsApp template, everything into one bundle go. That will really help you solve the problem that you're looking to solve.
Great. So, Abhishek, we'll move on to the last question for today. So, the last question for today is about branding techniques that institutes can adopt during the pandemic.
So, I think branding techniques, the first thing is that you need to have somebody in your team or working with your team who understands the basics of digital marketing. So, basically, he or she knows how to run a Google ad, Facebook ad, how to budget, how to automate, how to allocate keywords and things like that. So it's itself is a science. So you need somebody who's an expert in that area, or a group of people who are expert in that area. And when I say expert, not so-called expert, but proper experts in that area. That's the first thing I would say. A second thing I would say that you really need to sit with that expert or a team and do a budgeting. So, and the budgeting is very simple, is that generally in India, an education brand spends give or take 15 to 25% of their total revenue as a marketing. So if your total revenue from course is a crore rupees in a year, then ideally you should be spending around 15 lakh to 25 or 30 lakh rupees, 15 to 25 lakh rupees in marketing. then your question you should be asking is that, how do I bifurcate this 25 lakh rupees? So 60% should go in digital. Okay, fair enough. So 12 lakh rupees goes in Google AdWords and Facebook. So this guy will now optimize that. Remaining will we go to ATL, BTL activities. So probably I'll give an ad in paper, I'll do a hoarding, I'll do a digital hoarding, I'll spend some money in publisher and buy leads. I'll also have to pay salary to my people in the counseling team. So that's how. So I think the second part is that do your budgeting on the basis of your revenue, and 15 to 25% is the range, or 30% for an aggressive brand or a new brand is the money that you can potentially spend to keep a margin of 65 to 70% in your business. Spend more money. If you're a new brand, I will say go up to 40%. So if your projection for this year is that you are going to make a revenue of 1 crore, then spend around 35 to 40 lakh rupees in branding to create a name, put yourself on the benchmark. If you're an older and established brand, it can be around 25-30%, and so on and so forth. So that will be my second. And third is measure it. While you set a digital team, you have budgeted, clearly allocate, measure it. Lather, rinse, repeat, measure every day, every week with a core good CRM in place. Of course, that's needless to say, it needs to be there. And I think lather, rinse, repeat, you'll get better at it month on month.
Great. So that's all, I guess, for today. So we have a lot of other questions coming in. So because time couldn't permit us, so we wouldn't be taking any more questions as of today. But still, you can contact us for any of your inquiries. You can sign up a demo and get to know about our product from our experts through our website, www.extraedge.com. And for more such case studies and to understand the problem areas of your educational specific market, you can go and check our YouTube channel, which is by the name of Extra Edge. And that's it. Thank you all for joining us. I believe that it has been helpful and informative for everyone. And people who have joined in late, our team will be handing out the session handbooks shortly on your respective emails. So stay tuned over there. And
sorry to interrupt you. So there are a couple of questions asked, right? I will want to take them if you allow me. Okay.
Yes, sure.
So I think so guys, I'm overriding Deepanjana for a second, just to answer those questions. So there were a couple of questions which I found very interesting. That when people are not picking the call, what's the probability of a video call? So somebody asked from issues like Jammu. So it's a very good question, because a lot of times phone connectivity is a problem and people might not pick your call. I think video is a very good alternative, and creating short videos or short video chat or counseling rooms where you can bring in multiple people or a parent or a kid and bring them in a room to answer 2-minute, 3-minute, 5-minute query works very, very well for the person who has asked this question. So in Extra Edge, we have built our own video chat platform rather than plugging with a Zoom or a Google Meet, because if you plug in with a Google Zoom Meet, then you need to figure out Google Zoom money cost in Google Meet. So we have built our own proprietary tech where you can launch that video polls, and it works very beautifully, sir, if done at the right stage of the funnel for applications, for solving queries, questions on fees, scholarship, and installments. These are the places where your video call will work very handsomely, or that personalization will become very handsomely. Another question that was asked, Deepanjana, about how is hiring and firing decisions taken by Samarth. So Samarth, I think you need to be very objective about it. We all need to be very empathetic. We are living in a world of COVID where we are all very empathetic. We are concerned about each other. But at the end of the day, you really need to be an outcome-driven organization, like any education brand needs to be. Look at your top line, bottom line cost. And if somebody, you need to let them go, tell them that probably you were not the right fit for them. It's not that they have failed. You mutually have failed with each other. So, letting somebody go can also be done with respect. And sometimes it's very much required to do. So if you're measuring, and beauty is that when you're measuring your daily work done by the counselor, they're seeing it every day, the report, they are themselves knowing that they're not doing well. So they're ready for those kind of decisions. So I would say that, give periodic feedback, have data in place with a CRM, and don't make a surprise for them. So a lot of times when a data-driven company asks somebody to go, the people were expecting that to happen. So that's the power of having that into it. So that's I would want to answer to that question. So quickly, I wanted to take Deepanjana these two questions. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely, Abhishek. Also, I have tried to answer a few of the questions in the chat itself. So if you want to know about it further, you can just sign up and talk to our experts. And I think that's it for today, Abhishek. Any closing statement from your side? And then maybe...
Absolutely. So what we will do, Deepanjana, and for all the people, thank you for attending. We have curated all your questions. The ones which we were not able to answer or verbally answer, we'll create a small booklet for that. We'll answer all those questions in detail, and we'll send it out to all those people who have attended the session, along with the handouts and booklet of the session, along with the recording, so that you can also see what other people asked, and we will try to compile all those answers and send out to you. So we will keep on doing these webinars. You'll see me and Deepanjana more often. Please stay tuned for next deep dive sessions, where we'll take more important topics which is very similar to the problems that we discussed today. So thank you all for attending, and thank you, Deepanjana, for having me with you today.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you very much. Okay, guys, have a good evening and stay safe. Goodbye.